Good morning and welcome to virtual Chelsea flower show from my back garden. And this morning I have been picking some beautiful flowers from the quite meagre flowers that we've got in our garden. And in response to a popular request, my task today is to show you how to create a hand-tied posy or a bouquet. A posy is just a small bouquet and a bouquet is a big bouquet. So good morning, Georgia. Thank you for watching. So I have cut these flowers, and the first thing I'm going to do is to lay them out in front of me so I can see what I've got. So you might remember these from yesterday. Actually, it was Wednesday, wasn't it, when I gave you a virtual tour of my Chelsea flower show garden. And good morning, Joan, as well. And good morning, Sharon. Everybody's up this morning. That in the background is my dog barking at the squirrels. So I'm hoping she gets fed up soon and comes indoors. Maggie? Go on in. And then a bit of greenery. So I've got a mix of flowers and greenery. This is lamb's ears, a lovely soft feathery texture. These are the flower heads from Heuchera. And I don't know whether the variety is called London Pride or whether London Pride is something totally different. Because my husband talks about London Pride a lot, which I always think is a bottle of beer. So you'll have to tell me whether the sound is working okay. I know we had some sound issues earlier in the week. Solomon seal. Nice and bushy with the white bells underneath. Good morning, Helen, as well. Some short stems of perpetual wallflower. They might be a bit too short though, looking at the length of everything else I've got in my posy. I'm going to put them off to one side. And then hot lips. I think this is a lobelia hot lips, and you can see there it's got the reddish, quite insignificant flowers. But I wanted that as some bushiness and some bulk into my arrangement. And good morning, Jane, as well. Lovely to have you here. And some long stems of bridal bouquet. This is a spirea. So I may have to chop those down. They are quite long compared to everything else. I've got some grass as well, just common garden grass. We've got a wildlife area at the back of the garden and the grass is allowed to grow along there. So that gives a nice bit of natural movement. Oh, good. The sound's saying, Joan's saying the sound is working, so that is good. I'm not talking to myself then. And some sedum. This is quite a dark purpley variety. More commonly, you'll see a whiter, paler variety. It's quite chunky, almost looks as if I'm arranging with mini lettuces. Some bay. So if you've watched my YouTube video last week, I was talking about arranging with bay and wild garlic. So if you'd like to know more about that video, do leave a comment. You could put bay in the comments and I'll send you that video. And some choicea. And again, I haven't asked whether this is Sundance or whether it's just a choicea that's going yellow because of where we got it in quite a shady position. And good morning, Denise, as well. Lovely to have you here, Denise. And some stems of laurel. So this is new growth. It's quite fresh and green. It's not necessarily going to hold up in my vase because it's so new. But I picked it because the leaves are quite small, so it's going to be in scale with everything else. Now, the first thing you need to think about when you're tying a bouquet is where the piece of string is for you to tie your bouquet with afterwards. So I shall send you that video then, Joan. Joan is commenting bay. She's saying she's not familiar with that greenery at all. So it's an evergreen. It's really robust. It's got a lovely leathery, rustly texture, if texture can be rustly, and it is fragrant as well. So you add a bay leaf normally into stews and casseroles. So yes, Joan, I'll send you the link to that video. I'm going to put my piece of string into my pocket so I can find it later and then get arranging. So I've got everything lined up in front of me, and I'm going to start at one end and move my weight down to the other. So I am right-handed. This will confuse you because you're watching a mirror image. So I'm right-handed, I pick it up with my right hand and I put it into my left hand, and my left hand becomes my vase, and I'm really relaxed in my shoulder. The tendency is when you're making these kind of poses is that you have to have a strong arm and you have a strong hand, and you'll get really, really tense. So it's all about relaxing. You may be able to limber up. Perhaps next week should be about limbering up classes. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of greenery, just so I've got something, some substance to the start of my bouquet. And you can see there I've got 3 stems, and it's vaguely making a shape of a triangle at the top and a triangle at the bottom, and then I'll work my way down the line. And every time I'm putting my piece of greenery, I'm starting from my heart, running down my arm and ending up at my fingertips, which is something a lovely Romanian lady taught me who came to class. That was how she had been told to make her bouquets. So flash of green, so it's always nice to get contrasting colours and foliages into your arrangements. And then I twist it. So this is called the spiralling technique, and I use my right hand to hold the bottom stems, let go with my left, turn it around a little bit, hold on again with my left, let go with my right. And you'll see me doing that all the time, turning my bouquet round, and that is what gives it the really full look to the head of flowers. So a little bit of bay on chunky woody stems, and all the time I'm putting it in the same direction. So it comes down my arm and it's always being put off to this side over here. And it may be that you prefer working the other way and putting it on the inside edge, and whichever way you start with, you need to continue the same way around. So there's a little bit of greenery, and I'll start to add in my sedums. It's starting to get quite big now. I've got quite a sort of chunkiness in my hand. And Judith's saying that's the way that Judith Blacklock teaches it. So Judith Blacklock is a really, really well-known florist, flower teacher, based in Knightsbridge in London. And she used to edit the Flower Ranger magazine and now edits Flora magazine. And that's the way she teaches it. So it's just whatever little tips and tricks you can take on. Did you see that huge piece of spirea that I put on? So your bouquet or your posy, this is going to sit in a vase. It doesn't need to be neat and roundy-moundy. And when you're using garden greenery, use it as it grows naturally, and then you'll get a really organic, natural shape. Perhaps if you were doing wedding flowers, you might want to have things more compact, although I would say the fashion at the moment is for carrying little hedgerows down the aisle. The more you add in, it does become quite chunky to sort of move around, so you'll have to build those muscles up. Joan's saying, looking great already, thank you. And the secret is, Joan, is lots of greenery to bulk it out. If you have lots of thin bits of greenery, imagine I was making, you know, a bouquet of grass. I don't know why you would want to, but imagine how much grass I would need to fill out something that already now is, you know, sort of elbow to elbow width. And it's because I started off with those really full, bushy stems. So it is now getting, I can feel the weight in my hand. So I'm starting to feel it pushing down on me. So starting to put some little bit of flower in. You can't really see that against me. And what I can do now is, because I've spiraled the stems, I can add a few stems into the middle. So I don't want the middle to look all green and the outside edge to have all the flowers in. So you can feed things in and wend them away a little bit. So you just want the overall look to look balanced and natural. You don't want all the flowers weighted over one edge. And good morning, Laura. How are you, Laura, down in Dorset? Lovely to see you. It's a bit chilly here today, so I don't know what the weather's like with you. And then my little lamb's ears. So at the moment, it's a lovely textural feast. So I've gone all the way down the edge, but I haven't added in my peonies yet. I'm going to leave those to the end because I've only got 3 main flowers and I need to make sure they are put in evenly through the bouquet, and I find that easy to do right at the end. So look at that. Quite difficult to see against the green of the garden. If I stand that way, perhaps you'll see it a bit better. And then continue adding on. So you add in as much as your hand can hold, or as much greenery as you've picked. So you'll have to let me know in the comments whether you think this is going to be something you would try at home. It's worth practicing, and I would practice with some hard wearing stems, because you may need to take your bouquet apart and lay it all out again on your table. So it can be frustrating if you're not used to arranging how you get on with it. And that's when your supermarket stems come in real handy. Really hard wearing chrysanthemums and carnations, they will withstand being picked up and put down again. So Joan says she's definitely going to have a go. That's good. So I'm just about to put my hot lips in. It's the little flash of red at the bottom. There's a little flash of red there. I don't want them both together, so I'm going to shuffle my bouquet around a bit and put that in on the other side. Again, looking really full, and you can really see now the sort of vague triangle shape at the top and this triangle shape at the bottom, and that's what we're aiming for, this spiraled effect. And I can see Lauren, I can't see her name, Lauren, watching as well. So Lauren is an expert in Thai bouquets, and she is selling them from a little booth in the village where she lives. So she'll be giving me marks out of 10. We can pretend this is our own version of Netflix. I don't have Netflix, so I haven't seen the flower arranging show, the floristry, competition-y, events, styling, whatever-y. So I've added in some grass, which gives some great natural movement. I'll be bobbing around in the breeze. And then my peonies. So I've got 3 of them. This is quite tricky. So 3 peonies. We like working in 3s and 5s and 7s. They're all slightly different sizes and slightly different colours. So it's a matter of trying to put them in to make it look natural. So I might come in and wiggle them down from the centre just to nestle them in. Oops. So number 1. Peonies, they're gorgeous, aren't they? Coral charm, of course you know that, Lauren. You know, as big as my head, isn't it? So we have these growing in our garden. They're just on this patch here. And it's been really nice because we've been staying at home this year to actually enjoy them. Normally they come out in half term, which is next week, and we're normally visiting Granny and Grandad, so we don't get to see them. So we're being, extra special treat this year for us. So I've got a little audience waving to me out of the back windows of the house. So perhaps something like that. And you can see how those are immediately eye-catching because everything else in my bouquet was quite fine and quite small. You just run the danger if you're trying to create a bit of impact of everything being a bit dotty and spotty. So having a big flower or big flowers in works really well. Now, I've got the big one here, I've got these 2 here. I'm just wondering about moving one of them slightly down so it doesn't really look like I've got little ears sticking out of my bouquet. So I can be moving around. You see what now I've told you? Looks like the nose of Mickey Mouse and the 2 ears of Mickey Mouse. So I can fiddle around with that, and I shall do that later on when I can actually see it when it's front facing in my vase. So that is going to be the front of the bouquet. If I turn it round, it doesn't have any flowers in, so I'm going to have that bit up against the wall. And then to tie it off, keep my magic bit of string, and my preferred method is to fold the string in half and then hook it round above my fist area and then thread the cut ends through the loop that I've created and tighten it. So you need to pull it tight enough that it holds the bouquet together, but not so tight you ping off the flowers at the top. And if you're using softer stemmed flowers, you really do run the danger of cutting the flower heads off, and you might want to use some flower tape instead. I'm putting this down the table so I can really firmly go backwards and forwards with my string and tie it in a knot. Oh, Denise, you're saying it's beautiful. Thank you very much. And Lauren is saying, Lauren, I've got my glasses on, can't read. Make mine in front. Ah, yes. So Lauren says she makes hers in front of a mirror, and that is a really good idea. And of course I can see what I'm doing because I'm looking in the camera. And quite often what I do as well, if you're outside and you can see your reflection in the glass. So that's a really good way of doing it as well. So you can have a look. So yes, the last thing to do is to check the shape and see that you're happy with the shape and see whether anything needs adjusting. But I would say that I think the first time round is always the best time round on the whole. Otherwise it starts, you might get a bit tighter with it, start losing, you need to stay quite calm while you're making them. And I think just prepare yourself to begin with and just go for getting it right first of all. And it's a thing that you've made, it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's for you to enjoy. And what you see me here doing, I need to cut the stems so they're all quite even in length. I'm using my secateurs to do this because some of my stems are quite chunky, and work across individually. And then over here I have a vase. This is from IKEA, £10, quite nice modern classic shape, and I've chosen it because it's grey and won't detract from the beauty of the flowers. I'll just complement them, and that then would sit inside my vase. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have any gentlemen viewers as far as I know. We're all ladies together. So that would be how you would create a hand-tied bouquet. Let's call it a bouquet because it's nice and large. And if you did think it was sitting too stiffly in your vase, I would go back in once you've arranged it and cut the string and just let it relax a little bit more. And then every few days you need to take your flowers out of the water, clean your vase, fresh water in, and then put your flowers back in, and they should last for a week. The peonies might not do, but you should have a good life out of that. So there you go. That's all from me for now. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you didn't see the tour of my garden on Wednesday, there's a two-part video, the tour of my garden on Wednesday, so do check back and look at that. You can flick through to the videos tab and you will find it there. And don't forget to join me at my Zoom flower arranging class on Tuesday morning. That is 10 o'clock in the morning. Perhaps if you comment Zoom, and if you're not already on my list, I can mail you out the details at the weekend. And we'll be making a boho styled container for your flowers. So we're a bit short of flowers at the moment because we can't get out and buy them, unless of course you live near Lauren. And so we're trying to make do with what we've got at home. So the vital ingredients for Tuesday's arrangement will be some corks, so get drinking your wine, and a bag of flour. So that's all from me for now, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.